Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this week's installment of our Crew to Crew series. I'll be your host today. My name is Anthony. I'm one of the account managers here with the Landscape Management Network. Today, we're going to be talking about utilizing the waitlist tool. What is it? How do we use it? What type of jobs are we going to use it for, etc. Now, this is live, so if you are watching it, I am doing it right now. Feel free to drop us a note there in chat, whether it's questions or comments. Time permitting and depending on the questions, I will do my best to answer. And if we run out of time or it's something that would be best handled by support, we can definitely direct there after the fact. All right, so I'm going to switch over here. We're going to switch to our LMN and we will get going. So first off, what is the wait list? The wait list is essentially a queue for your schedule. So it is things that need to be scheduled, but we do not necessarily have a certain date locked down. So just think of it as the queue towards scheduling. Now, for the purposes of our webinar today, I'm going to be using spring cleanup as my wait list visit. This can also be used for fertilization, irrigation startup, leaf cleanup, even install type work where you don't necessarily have a date for it. You just have a certain period of when it's going to be. We'll take a look at a few different options here, how to schedule to the wait list, how to promote it to the schedule from the wait list, a couple different bulk options for you. Okay, so let's get into it here. We'll start in the wait list screen and just go through sort of the statuses here on the wait list. You can see here left side of my screen, we've got a couple different statuses. Past due essentially means that this visit, this service that we've got on our wait list is past the date when we have a warning set up for it, which essentially means we're falling a little bit behind. We want it to be past due. You'll notice too, if I switch to all types, and some of you may have this, you may have a whole bunch of past due type services that you've played around with or in trying to use the waitlist have set up. We can delete these in bulk, just sort of as I've done there. Check the boxes on the left-hand side, and we can just delete sort of in bulk, which is a nice feature if you've started practicing with this and have made some mistakes or have things you don't. Next to the right is going to be priority. We've got different sort of statuses. Again, we can update this way just with this edit waitlist button. One of the options here is change priority. If something is low, normal, high, or urgent, those are the statuses available. There's no way to custom those. Those are just the statuses we have. We can also sort by the job ID, the crew, the amount of visits, and of course, the dates and everything as it's set up. Now, before we get into actually putting a job on the wait list, I'm going to head over here and show you a couple settings first. So top right side of the screen, we've got our time settings gear icon. We're going to go a little lower. We're going to take a look at jobs and then services. Now, for the purposes of today, I've got a spring cleanup crew to crew task that I've set up right here. I've got a build per visit. Build per visit is going to be if we want to trigger invoicing when marking off this service on the app. If you have a contract, for example, that includes your spring cleanup, we're going to select included. There will be no billable based on this service. We're going to have linked materials up here at the top. I'm going to do build per visit, and then schedule type, we'll want this as weekly. All right. Now, I'm just going to cancel out of here. The next setting that we're going to take a look at is in schedule templates. So for any of you that are familiar with schedule templates, in order to schedule a recurring service, so whether that's weekly maintenance, again, any of the ones we went through before, that's irrigation startups, spring cleanups, leaf fertilization, anything like that, we'll need a schedule template cleanup. Now, some of your templates may look a little like this one, even more complex than this. This is just a test account, so we've just got some few in here. You may have 5 or 6 that you see here. I'm going to be using this one. Sort of nice and easy, one service in the schedule template for spring cleanup. Be sure that the type that we have is wait list. because we want to put it on the wait list. We don't necessarily want to schedule it. Make sure you have the correct calendar, correct crew size, and the dates are correct. That's definitely an important thing. Make sure the dates are correct, especially if we're scheduling in bulk. Otherwise, we can go in and modify if we're doing one at a time, as I'll show you here in a quick second. But if we're doing in bulk, we cannot sort of change those times. If you have any further questions about schedule templates, any further questions about job setup, we have a couple other crew-to-crew webinars we can provide you that some of my colleagues have done. We can definitely link those. So if you have questions about job setup, schedule templates, be sure to reach out to us on chat. Next up, I'm going to head over to my job list. I've got a nice job group here made for the wait list. I would definitely recommend any of you out there take use of the job groups. If not for routing, if not for reporting, at the very least, make use of them so that our job list can look better, can be sort of cleaner, exactly what we want it for. Now, I'm going to take a look at this job down here. I've already put a couple wait list visits on the schedule just so we could see what those statuses are. But let's go through how to add one here. So if I click add in the top right, I'm adding to the wait list. Now you'll notice here, we skip to number 2. We start right away at number 2. There's a couple other ways to schedule. I'm going to back out very quickly just to show that. If I head over to the wait list and I push add, it starts as 1. So it prompts you to choose job. You'll notice this adding is the exact same in the calendar. It's the exact same in the whiteboard, and it's the exact same from within the job. But if we take it through the job, we sort of get to skip that first step because obviously if we're adding work for this job, it's going to be the one that we're scheduling. So again, we're prompted with a schedule template here at the bottom. This schedule description is going to pull from our defaults, and there's a work order number if you so need it. If not, not a problem. I get a little warning here, already scheduled, just because I've been playing around with this one. I have scheduled it, I have deleted it. If it's your first time doing this, going about it this manner, you won't have that here. I'm going to pick my task. I'm going to select next, and then I'm going to go here. Now, this is what I was talking about, where the dates are critical in our schedule templates. This date here, March 22nd, April 12th, this is pulled from the schedule template. Now, let's say we were doing it in bulk. I wouldn't have this sort of edit button here. If we were just doing it in bulk, I would have to be forced to go by what's there. Because I'm doing it individually, I can click edit and I can modify essentially all these things that are pulling automatically from our schedule templates. So I can change the calendar if need be. I can change these dates. I can change the worn by date if necessary. I can also change the crew. So example, my crew blue here, this is 3 people. Let's say for this, I only want 2 people in here. We make the change to 2. We hit this refresh button here and it redoes the hour. I'm going to take 2.5 hours with 2 people. If I add in a half an hour of productive time, it's going to take 3 hours on the job. Now we're going to cancel out of this. We're not going to totally finish because I've already got a few on the schedule, and I don't want to overcomplicate it. So the next thing that I'm going to show is going to be how to do the exact same thing in bulk. So we're going to go to our bulk schedule. We're going to pick our job groups. Another sort of pro here for job groups is we want to make sure we have them so we can use them for scheduling. I'm going to pick my waitlist group. We're going to do the spring cleanup one that I made. We've got our date as of today, and I'm going to search. Now, I've got a few jobs here. This one we'll notice on the right side is a nice light blue because it's, as we can see here, it's scheduled or to the wait list. Now, I'm going to zoom in here on my other jobs because I put them all right next to each other so they'd be easy to find. Just navigating the tool a little bit, and we zoom in and I can see I've got these 4 wait lists scheduled on the same street. So I'm going to click each and every one of them. We'll notice the color is going to change from gray to green because we've got them selected. And on the right side of the screen here, we're going to hit schedule. Now, this is where the drop downs come in. We pick our schedule template, we pick our crew, we pick our manager, And then we need a default task. Now, you can go through each and every one here. I know this is going to be spring cleanup, but we can also use this default. I can type in the word spring and it'll auto sort for you. If you're doing 300 spring cleanups or anything near that number, anything more than I would say 20 or 30, you're going to want to make use of the bulk schedule, especially to put it on the wait list. And then we'll notice, let me change that here. So right here, this is what came up before, and this is what I wanted to show. If you see this on your waitlist jobs, the reason is because the visits in the tasks do not match the visits in this schedule template. So for my purposes, that would be wrong. That would tell me if I have a mistake. So I would need to switch the task. It would be correct. Now, if you're doing fertilization with the waitlist tool, you may want to put 4 fertilization services on the waitlist, but they're all going to have the same task, right? You need to think, do we need a different task for each individual fertilization visit? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you don't need that data, I'd recommend having one fertilization task. Your visits here would then sort of show incorrectly, but you would know it's correct. That's just sort of giving you an error that the tasks do not match the service. Okay, so we're going to type in confirm here. I'm sure as many of you have seen in the software, whenever we're doing something in bulk, we have to type out whether it's confirm, delete. Essentially what we're doing is we're just double checking. We're providing that extra level double check so you can't accidentally schedule something like 30 visits that we all have to delete then somewhat manually. So I'm going to click continue here. We get an alert saying I have scheduled 4 visits across 4 different jobs. Sorry about that, folks. Now, if we head back over to the wait list here, we're going to have to re-find our service. That's the fall cleanup, spring cleanup, and we're going to change the date to the 22nd here. Now, we've got all of these new ones that have shown up. We've got the future visits. We've got the ones that attention. Those are the ones that are past the due sense date, but not yet to the worn by date. If they were past the worn by date, we would have a past due. And then obviously future, we have a future. Now, one question we get quite often in support is if a visit is waitlisted, will it show up on the calendar? Meaning these visits here, will they show up on my calendar? Now, the quick answer to that is no, it won't. These jobs are now queued to go onto the schedule, but they are not yet on the schedule. So lock that in, waitlisted visits are not yet on the schedule. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote these jobs to schedule, and this is something I can do in bulk. We'll start with one. I'll show you one first. We'll go to update, waitlist. We'll go to promote to schedule. I want this job to go tomorrow. And here it's just a manual scheduling process. We are going to pick the date, we're going to pick the crew, and then the time is going to auto fill in from what we had on the wait list. And I'm going to save. Now I've promoted my visit from the wait list to the schedule. You'll notice it's gone. It's no longer in my wait list. But if we go to the whiteboard and we take a look at tomorrow's date, there's also we can also navigate this way. If you're jumping big dates, we can notice that it's there. We can pull it up. It's a fully scheduled. It's on the calendar for my blue crew. We have all these options where we can edit and edit the schedule. Now, let me show you that part in bulk where we do exactly the same thing. Back to our spring cleanup, visit dates after March 22nd because that's when it's due. And we're going to throw these 4 visits onto our schedule. So promote schedule. I want it tomorrow. We're going to save. They're gone. Now, let's head back to the whiteboard. Let me show you certain features that the whiteboard has. Oh, I think I put those on the 22nd. So let's go back to the 22nd. There we go. So a couple features that we have is we can drag and drop. We can just take this, we can move it to the top. That one's going to go first. That's one thing we can do. We can move it to a different crew. It's another thing we can do, just nice drag and drop feature. And then in our whiteboard actions, we have a few more. So we've got optimize route, which this address, the starting address, that comes from your company info and LMN time. Company info and LMN time is where that comes from. You can put that as your shop address, wherever they're going to start for the day with their loading, unloading. Now we're going to optimize the route. This is going to pull information from Google. You can do up to about 18 or 19 of these jobs with the optimization tool. Anything more than that, and you'll get an error. It might not do them all. Workaround for that is make a different group or put it, we can move some of them to the next day and then optimize both of them. You know, use some insight on the location to know when they're going to blend together. But if you get an error with that, probably have more than 15 or 20 within. So we've optimized the group. We have the reorder future, which saves this, not necessarily a feature that we're going to be using for the wait list, but for mowing or weekly maintenance, or for example, we want to reorder so we don't have to go in and optimize every single week. We've also got the print crew daily. So if I print the crew daily for my blue team, I can open it up. I get a report with all the expectation for that day. This is something we can attach to for the foreman. We can send it out to them. We can provide it in group chat, all sort of things we can do. Notes here, that's going to pull from daily instructions in the job. So right here is where we can add that in. Now, another question that we get quite often is if I delete a job that has been promoted to the schedule, does it go back to the wait list? So if I take this job, for example, I go to edit today and I delete today's scheduled visit, does it go back to the wait list? The answer is no. Once something's been promoted from the wait list to the schedule, it no longer has any relationship with the wait list. It's fully on the schedule, and if we delete it, we would have to re-add it to the wait list, then re-add it to the schedule, or in this sort of instance, I would say the logical thing would just be to schedule it manually, throw it on the schedule sort of right away. You can bypass sort of the middle. And then the only other questions we really have are about the statuses, as we sort of alluded to a little earlier. So if I search for this here, all my future ones that I had, I throw on the schedule, so they're no longer there. Past due, again, is if we're past the warn date, and then attention is if we're past the due since, but before the warn date. And again, we can sort of click all these on the sides. We can edit the wait list, either assign it to a crew, change the dates, priority, promote to schedule, and we can also delete. So if I delete there, those 4 are gone. And then we just have a nice sort of clean wait list, no sort of extra things. If when you go to take a look at the wait list, you have a whole bunch of past due type visits from last year. So delete those, clear them out entirely, start fresh. And that's sort of the best way to do it. Now, I'll pause for a quick moment. We haven't had much questions, so feel free to put someone in there. We'll give sort of a quick break there to see if some chats come in. While I do that, I just want to show a couple resources that we have available. If you're ever sort of in your LMN software and you have a question that you need kind of an immediate answer for, right up here in the top right, these blurbs, hit live chat here. This will take you to our support team. Our help desk should be more than happy to help with immediate things. And then over here, down at the left, we've got an LMN Academy. That's going to be full of college-style modules and videos that'll get you help. There is one on the wait list as well. It's a little simpler than what I've went into, but feel free to check it out in the Academy. Go to the Academy, search for waitlist. It's a nice 8 or 9 minute video, should act as a refresher if you need any assistance with anything else. All right, so we've given it another minute there. Haven't gotten any chats come in, so I'll assume we don't have any questions. Oh, let me see. All right, chats come in here from Dana. If you can do bulk scheduling, why use the waitlist? Great question, Dana. Essentially, the point of the waitlist is if we want something queued. So if we are looking to throw a service that we know the dates that are going to be scheduled on, we can definitely bulk schedule put it on the wait list right away in a schedule type that isn't waitlist. But if we don't know the specific dates, so for something like spring cleanups or winterization, something like that, we would have to throw it in the wait list as a queue until we know the actual date that we can put it on. So that's a great question there, Dana, but that's the only time we would use the wait list is if we're looking to queue it first. Another question here from Ryan. Where do we first input the crews so it includes the crew name and crew number? Great question, Ryan. Again, in our LMN time settings, gear icon, top right of your screen, we're going to go schedule, and we're going to go schedule crews. Essentially, we're going to get the crew, we're going to get the default size of the crew, and we're going to get the crew color, which we can show on the calendar. So again, for crews, settings, top right, schedule, schedule crews. That's where that would be. Thank you both for those questions there. Those were fantastic. All right. So any other questions, just because we're running out to the end of time here, any other questions, concerns that you have, feel free to reach out to us on support, support@golmn.com. We will make sure that we get those answered for you. Now, a couple other things that we want to tell everyone here today is the forms library. Now, the forms library is accessible through LMN estimating, left-hand side. Essentially, you can get access to all of these processes available. It's free download included with your subscription. Lots of sort of documentation in there that's definitely going to be helpful moving forward, whether it's processes, there's industry averages, HR documentation, lots of forms there. And if you have any ideas for forms that aren't there, reach out to us on support. That's something we can do. We want you to stay connected. We have a Facebook user group as well as a LinkedIn user group. I will sort of pause there on the screen. If you want to take a screenshot, make note of those groups if you are not a part of them. We encourage chat there, help each other out. Any questions, concerns that you can't answer, please do. That is monitored by our team here at LMN, so you should see activity from us every now and then. Software skills that we have, sort of as I mentioned, we've got our LMN Academy, the modules college style that you can browse at your leisure within LMN estimating. We also have live virtual academy classrooms. What those are in the training tab of our website, 4 classes every day on different subjects across LMN, similar environment to our crew to crew webinars where you get sort of a Q&A after the presentation. Definitely good, maybe smaller sample size, something to check out first. If you're waiting to get on a calendar with your account rep, definitely something to do, definitely something that it's going to help. Following along in that, one-on-one support with your account reps. Each of you has an account rep with your subscription. You should definitely be able to get assistance from them either by email, booking webinars, or phone calls. We've also got chats, a help desk over the phone, a help desk full of articles that you can browse, as well as our email, support@golmn.com. Next on the list, we've got LMN virtual workshops. That's another tab in the training section. Check that out. Anything that interests you, please register. The current thing that I'll mention is our LMN Green workshop. That'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's a couple hours, hosted by Mark Bradley. So for all you owners, operators out there, definitely something to check out. Provide a lot of insight and help for your company. And then the last thing I want to mention is the LMN free webinars. This is one of the LMN free webinars, our Crew to Crew series. It's something we do weekly. Someone from our team discusses a topic that hopefully you can help your team and you can share with your groups. That should be good. And then the other thing I want to mention is our LMN 7-part series on building a strategic plan with our CEO and co-founder, Mark Bradley. The next one is March 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern. The topic there is people strategy. I know retaining great staff in the landscape industry can be a tough thing. Definitely check that out if you are interested. That concludes today's Crew to Crew on the waitlist. Hopefully it was of help. If you have any questions about the waitlist or anything to do with LMN, please reach out to us on support. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I want to also wish you a very safe and happy 2021. all the best of luck from myself as well as from everyone here at LMN. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.